Hey everybody, I just wanted to pop on and do a sort of informal video just to acknowledge what has happened over this past week across the country. Firstly, anti-Asian and Pacific Islander hate, which is nothing new, as you will know if you've been reading the news throughout this time, but it's definitely been exacerbated recently with the murders of 6 Asian women and 2 other people in Atlanta, Georgia. To the best of my knowledge, the news is not yet calling it a hate crime, but it's a hate crime. You can't separate the identities of the people who were killed. You can't say that this was a crime against women and not acknowledge that it was also a crime against Asian Americans. It's important to remember intersectionality when discussing topics like this. And it's also important to remember to be empathetic and to listen and not to center yourself in the conversation. I'm going to put some links below to some Asian American Pacific Islander YouTubers who've made some wonderful videos. And I just wanted to take a minute to commend their bravery, because it's very difficult to discuss and rehash trauma, specifically when that trauma is so deeply rooted in identity and in violence and in pain, and it's even more so difficult to do so on the internet, publicly. And I can't imagine how frightening it must be to put out that sort of video as an Asian American or Pacific Islander in the United States at this time. When Abby gets home from school, I'll ask her if she has anything to add, but she came into my room on Wednesday, the day after the shootings in Atlanta, to talk really briefly. She's not much of a talker, but to just mention to me what had happened. And I could tell that it hurt her deeply and that she didn't quite know how to deal with that pain. And I would imagine that's something that a lot of Asian Pacific Islander adoptees are experiencing now and in general. But anyway, if she doesn't want to say anything, we'll just continue with the video. And that's okay too. As I mentioned, no one should have to relive their trauma or talk about it on the internet. That should not be mandatory, and it should only be something you do if you feel relatively comfortable doing so and if you can be safe in doing so. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is the shooting in Boulder. I live very, very close to Boulder. That's a location that my family and I would go to a lot when we were little. Abby and I were small. Anyway, 10 people were killed in Boulder yesterday when I'm filming this, and it happened in a grocery store. Our brand of Kroger, I know there's different names all over the country, our brand is King Soopers. So this happened while people were out and about shopping for eggs and bread and just basic necessities for human life, and their lives were so callously stripped of them. Colorado has a very long history of gun violence. It's always been something I've been aware of. You know, my parents would talk about Columbine because my dad went to high school there, not during the tragedy and the massacre, but he went to high school there. And, the Aurora Theater shooting, I distinctly remember that. And there was a active shooter at a STEM school, and now this. So it doesn't feel strange, and that's the worst part. Gun control just seems like common sense. Like, it doesn't seem like it should be political when people are dying. So yeah, that's this video, a little heavier. I'm not at school today because I've been really struggling with my mental health lately. And as I mentioned, it's really important not to center yourself, specifically if you're white or cisgender, etc., middle class. It's important not to center yourself in conversations about oppression, but it's also important that you try and take care of yourself to the best of your ability so that you can be the most productive ally possible. It was just a lot of back-to-back everything, and I'm sure that's something that a lot of people can relate to at an even deeper level than myself. So on that note, I hope that you are taking care of you. I'm just sending love to the Asian American Pacific Islander community at this time, to the victims of the Boulder shooting, and just hoping that politicians will enact some sort of tangible change. I'm not optimistic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to when I can vote. All right, everyone, that is all for now. Take care of yourself. Support Asian-owned businesses if you can. A really easy way to do that is takeout. I've been having a lot of takeout lately, which is wonderful. It makes me very happy, and it supports a local business, and it supports an aching community, which is always something we should strive to do. And with that, I will see you next time.